so tired. I just got home like an hour
Oh,
ago. I was stuck in traffic.
wow, 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 wow. Thank God you made it on time, Sha. I was also rushing as well.
In fact, Lagos traffic is just one
It's not for
kind.
small children.
Ah, it's not. It's not. Even the big girls were struggling.
It's not for small children. Okay, how are you? How are you? How are
What?
you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. How are
I'm
you?
fine. My life. Okay, so thank you everyone who has joined in. Today we're going to be talking about pregnancy loss with Maryam, CEO of Breastfeedingng. She's a pharmacist, she's a mom,
CEO seems to.
CEO. She's a pharmacist, she's a mom, she's a breastfeeding advocate. Um, I mean, obviously, there's a reason. The reason why we're having this chat is we're taking it from the approach of mothers who've had miscarriages before. Next
Mm-hmm.
week, or well, yeah, next week, I'll be talking to a psychologist on how to deal, and then we'll actually bring in a gynecologist as well to talk about it in terms of causes and all that, because I think for a lot of people as well, we want to pin the cause of what has happened on something so that we can get some sort of closure.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
Closure.
a lot of times, like
Yeah.
studies have shown that about 5 to 15% of pregnancies, confirmed pregnancies, may end up in miscarriage or stillbirth. So it's not, it happens, and sometimes yes, the cause is known, sometimes the cause is not known. Okay, so as usual, as our usual fashion.
Okay, I can't hear you
Oh,
anymore.
sorry, can you hear me now?
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
Jay.
Hi. Uh-oh. Hi, can you hear me?
Okay, okay, I
Okay,
can hear you
perfect.
now. The network is really funny.
It's
It's
not
acting funny.
fantastic.
Let's just hope we can do this live video.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's breaking.
Oh wow. Oh, sorry. Okay, so first of all, I think we're just going to start with just talking about our experiences. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Okay,
can hear
talking
you.
about our experiences. So, Miriam, would you like to share your story with us before I?
Why are there only two people here?
But the rest,
Where are
they'll
they? They're
come.
on their way.
They'll
They're in
come. They're in
traffic.
traffic.
Okay. Where should I start
From the
from?
beginning. Okay, let me start. Okay, let me
From the
ask you a few
beginning.
questions
Okay.
now. Um, when
Okay.
you became okay, when did this happen? What year?
Uh, 2016.
Okay,
Okay, you know what? Let me just start from the beginning. I know where it starts from. Don't mind me. I'm,
okay,
I'm
okay,
just
okay,
yeah. Okay, so it happened in 2016, like 2 months or a month after I got married. Trying to remember. Okay, I got married December 2015, December
okay,
23, and by January 15, I was pregnant
okay,
already. Surprise. Yeah, and I remember that I had plans, like weren't planning to get pregnant so early, so it just kind of happened.
okay, okay.
Are you
Yeah, I'm here.
there?
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it just kind of happened. It's not as if we planned it or anything. But of course, then I remember I was thinking, oh my God, I didn't want this to happen so early. But now pregnancy kind of grows on you, even when you're not sure you really want it. And of course, with the apps, reading about it, how the baby grows today,
Getting
how
excited.
is how it develops
What size is
exactly. So the
now?
excitement
So
started to build, and then I'm the first child, so my parents were over the roof. They were so excited. I couldn't even keep the news to myself. I remember I was just telling everybody.
sorry, as in your
Yeah, it
first one
was
or like third one?
seriously
Okay,
yes,
right. Okay.
first month. Yeah, not everybody, everyone. Of course, not like I'll meet you on the road and be like, oh my
My
god,
name is
I'm
Maryam. I'm
pregnant.
pregnant.
But at least close friends and family, as like everybody knew. My parents knew, obviously. My sister. I can't remember if I told my sister-in-law. I think I did. I told my sisters-in-law as well. So it was a big deal. We were all so excited. And then I used to work at General Hospital Ikeja, now LASU, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Are you
Yes,
there?
I'm here.
Okay, okay. I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Can't hear me? Still? I can hear you. I
What?
can hear you.
What's going on?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hi.
I can hear you, but it's really faint.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
What?
Can you hear me better now?
Hmm?
Okay, just
I can't. That's the thing. I'm sure you can hear me, but I can't hear her.
oh, okay. Do you know what? Just keep talking. Maybe it's network and maybe it's because I can hear you very clearly. Maybe it's network and then
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong, and I feel like it's my phone even. Should I just continue?
yes.
Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah, so like we were so excited, we were pretty excited. So I used to work at General Hospital Ikeja, that's now Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, last week Ikeja. So I had a really stressful schedule.
Okay. I have a feeling that it's a network. Hello. I
Are
think
you there?
network. Yes, I'm here. But we lost you for a bit.
The screen is moving. Okay, I can hear you now. You know what? Let me move to somewhere where the network is better. Just hold on,
Okay.
please.
Okay. Okay. So I'll just
Okay,
keep
let me just
on.
continue. Let me
Okay.
continue. Yeah, so I used to work at LASU and I had a really, really stressful what was it called now?
Job.
My schedule was
But
really stressful. We used to
okay.
run calls. That's like overnight calls. Monday to Sunday. It happened on a Tuesday. But I was working from Monday to Sunday. So even weekends I had to go to work. So I remember that I started to sport like 3 days before, and I had antenatal clinic on Monday. So I started sporting, I think.
Okay. All right. So I'm having some challenges with the network at Miriam's end. Yeah. Okay. So I think that what do we do? Okay. I think I'll just talk about a few things. Because I'll let her finish her story before I say mine. 10 to 15% of pregnancies, confirmed pregnancies, studies have shown that they end up in miscarriage or stillbirth. A miscarriage is any pregnancy loss before 20 weeks. That is about 4 months. And then after 4 months is actually termed a stillbirth. So um I'll leave the breastfeeding part to her. Yeah. So there's several things that can cause a miscarriage. Sometimes also there's no known cause of the, you can't actually, the doctors can't actually pin anything down. Ideally, I don't mean to sound morbid, but ideally it's examination of the baby, or the product of conception that will give an idea of what exactly went wrong. Things such as genetic abnormalities, that's if there's any sort of abnormalities in the DNA, let me just put it that way, DNA of the baby that's been formed, that can cause it, that is not compatible with life, that can cause the woman to lose the pregnancy. Infections, I mean things like malaria, viral infections, and protozoal infections, okay, can cause that. She's here. Okay. Then structure deformities in the womb, things like fibroids. There are pregnancies that can coexist with fibroids, but then also fibroids
Okay,
that,
sorry.
all right, so she's back.
My
So let's,
network. My network is terrible. Sorry. Okay, so where did I stop?
you were saying that you had to do a call, a weekend call.
Okay, yeah. I remember that the week the miscarriage happened, I had a weekend call. So I worked from Monday to Sunday, and the Monday that was supposed to be my off day, I had to
Sorry.
go
Monday to
to
Sunday the
Sunday.
next. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was really stressed. I know that some people or some doctors have the opinion that stress doesn't
Cause it.
influence the miscarriage, but
Yeah.
personally I disagree.
Yeah.
I think that stress is relative. So I don't think that anybody can say that stress is not the same thing to everybody.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I remember that week I had to work Monday to Sunday, and then the Monday that was supposed to be my off day, I had to go for antenatal clinic. So I didn't have any rest in between.
Wow.
Yeah, there was no rest in between. So I started to notice that I was spotting on Sunday or Saturday afternoon or evening. I was still at work then. I remember that I spoke to a doctor there, and he just told me that there was nothing to worry about. There was most likely implantation bleeding, that I should just rest. Because so the
Re-
Monday I went to the hospital. I told the doctor because he didn't stop. He was getting more and more. And he was like, "Oh, I should take lots of water, take lots of fruits, I should rest." I'm like, "I work at Lapsus, how will I rest?" I said, "Okay, I'll take like 2 days off or something." So I got home Monday, Monday afternoon. I mean, after the hospital, on Tuesday, I still had to go to work because I hadn't informed them that I wasn't there. I had to take a break. So what I planned was that on that Tuesday, I would go to work, tell them that, oh, the doctor ordered some bed rests, take maybe Wednesday to Friday off, and then resume back Saturday or Monday. Unfortunately, that Tuesday was doomsday. So I went to work, came back home, and then in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, what started out as spotting became full blown bleeding. Like,
Cramp blood.
yeah, and I was having
Cramps.
cramps. We used to stay in Surulere because it was in the middle of the night. I don't know, me and my husband were really confused. We didn't know what to do. I just remember that we went to Randall General Hospital, and we got to their emergency unit, and they were just looking at us like, okay, so you're bleeding, what do you want us to do?
Hmm?
After a while, someone came and said, oh, this is not their maternity clinic, that we should go somewhere else. We went there, the nurses were chatting, and they were like, oh, they were asking how much blood. Hi Jay, oh my god. And they were asking how much blood, like how much blood had come out, and I was like, oh, it's not so much, but the blood changed from brown to red, so I know something is wrong.
Hmm.
And she was like, oh, it's not an emergency, but okay, they're going to call the doctor. So they called the doctor. We got there around 12. and we didn't see the doctor till like 1:30 a.m. So we saw the doctor and he was like, oh, that he doesn't think anything is wrong, but that we should go for a scan. Mom confessions. So he doesn't think anything is wrong, but that we should go for a scan the following day. So overnight, me and my husband could not sleep because we were so scared, we were really terrified. But we were praying and we were really hopeful. I was extremely sure that nothing was going to go wrong because we prayed. We did not sleep. We were praying overnight. So the following day, I went to the there's this very popular ultrasound place in Surulere. Foremost, anybody that goes there knows that the queue there is terrible. I had to wait for like 3 hours before it was my turn to
Sorry,
eventually. What?
This was overnight.
Oh no, the following morning. We didn't go that night. We went the following morning. I was saying that we didn't sleep throughout the night. We were just praying. We were really hopeful. My husband is an optimist. He was so sure nothing was going to be wrong. So we went to the radiology center. And then I remember that when the guy put the ultrasound machine on my stomach, I kept asking him, is there a heartbeat? Is there a heartbeat? The moment he didn't say anything, I just knew that, oh my God, okay, this has happened. Of course, he didn't say, he just didn't respond. He was just saying, just try to be calm. I was 8 weeks gone then. Okay. So it happened in February. It started February 19. So this day that I'm on now is February 22. It happened on the 22nd of February. So it was like, oh, I should just be calm. And then eventually he just said, okay, there was no heartbeat and that I have to go back to the hospital. I remember that I was really, really, really trying to be strong. I didn't cry. I got to the door because I had to go and collect my results. I collected it. I told someone had parked behind me, so I told the security guy to please call the person who owned the car to come and take his car out.
Sorry,
so I got into the car. I drove myself. My husband had to go to work. So I got into the car. First person I called was my mom. Trust African mothers. My mom started screaming. Grandma. Ah, God. It was as if she was one that had the miscarriage. She was screaming. She was like, oh my God, where are you? Something. After I called my mom, I couldn't call my husband. I just sent him a text. I couldn't call him because I knew if I called him, I would have started crying. And I wanted to get home before I started crying. I don't know how the security guy knew I wasn't emotionally stable, but I know that he kept saying, Madam, don't go. And I know that if I had left that place myself, I'd probably have had an accident. In fact, I've not seen that guy since that day, but I tried to look for him because he was a lifesaver, to be honest. If I had driven myself from that place, I think I would have died. So I sent a text to my husband. He was trying to call me, but I didn't want to cry. I was in denial, so I didn't pick his calls. So my mom, obviously, she called my dad. Everyone was trying to call me. Like, the news went around very fast. They were all trying to...
I'm sorry.
So they were all trying to call me. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I called my best friend, and that was where I just lost it. I just started crying. I cried so much. It was like all of the water in my body was coming out of my eyes. It hurt so badly. So badly. So my husband came to get me because I couldn't drive. He came with my brother. My brother came all the way from Iju to Surulere. I don't even know how we got there because my husband was coming from the island and he even got there before him. So they both came to get me from the hospital. By the time we got home, I promised myself I wasn't going to cry anymore. We got home. My husband called the doctor. Okay, when we went for the ultrasound, the guy said that the miscarriage was incomplete, so I might have to go in for a D&C. So
Lactation.
he called the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Oh, okay, I have to come in for a D&C." I didn't even know what a D&C was before that day. So I remember I was trying to Google it. I was just not understanding. Like my brain was in shock.
Yeah.
Everything I was trying to do just seemed so strange.
Yeah.
So of course everyone came to the house and people were saying things like "Báwo lo ṣe ṣe?" In English that means how did you do it? But to my grief-stricken mind, it meant how did you kill your baby? And I remember that question hurt more than anything else. So don't ever ask
So
someone who had a
just
miscarriage.
keep it and just stay
Don't
away.
ever say "Báwo lo ṣe ṣe?" That's Yoruba. People that are Yoruba here, they know what I'm talking about. It was, that question felt like it was kind of my fault. And everyone was saying, "Oh, why did I go to work? Were you sweeping? Were you bending down?" Everyone was just trying to, they thought they were helping, but they really weren't. Sometimes all you can do for someone who is in grief is just
Sit
don't
down
say
with them.
anything. Don't say anything. Just be there. My brother didn't say anything. He was just there. He didn't even know what to say because he was also sad, but he knew that saying anything could either make things potentially more worse or, in fact, there's nothing you can say that can make me feel better. So just don't say anything. Just stay. Just be there. Don't say anything. So I remember a lot of people were asking, "Oh, did you bend down? Have you been cooking?" Things, ridiculous questions. I know it was coming from a place of love, but I
But
just wasn't. That
no,
wasn't the right time. So
yeah.
just, in fact, I would say that don't go there that first day. If you hear someone just had a miscarriage, I wouldn't visit that person that day because the person has to grieve with her partner. My husband didn't even have space to grieve for a while because people were just coming to the house. I wasn't emotionally stable to handle anything, so my husband was the one dealing with everything. So he as well, he couldn't cope with his grief. So they booked us for the D&C, or they booked me for the D&C. And when I got to the hospital and they wheeled me into the theater, that was when it hit me that, oh my God, my baby is gone. Like, that was when all the shock wore off, the denial went, acceptance came. That, okay, this is happening and there's no going back. That D&C it was physically painful, but it's also very, very emotionally painful. Very, very emotionally painful. And I remember that okay, that some hospitals use anesthesia, but for some reason they gave me pentazocine. But I have a history of dysmenorrhea, so I grew tolerant to pentazocine. So
Yeah.
I felt everything. The doctor was asking how come I was awake because they gave me IV, but because I had taken pentazocine a lot in my youth, so I was kind of tolerant to it. I felt every single pain. I felt everything. I was screaming all through. It was so traumatic. Anyway, so my mom
Was
was
it at
there
that
also. She came.
or the hospital where was this? You hadn't booked yet, obviously. You hadn't booked you hadn't booked the pregnancy yet. You hadn't started you had started antenatal,
No,
I think so.
I started ANC immediately. Immediately I knew
Okay.
I was pregnant. I started.
So this was at
So
the
after
hospital
the
where they registered, not random.
yeah, so after the DNC, they wanted to keep me till the next day, but I just wasn't having it. I just wanted to go home. I wanted to sleep in my bed. I wanted to be with my husband alone. Mm. I remember that my dad came that night, and he was just telling me to be strong. All the things that parents can say. So we got home that night. My sister-in-law stayed with me. We got home that night. I was bleeding so much. Like the blood was like I would stand up and I would actually feel a rush of blood. Yeah, it was that bad. The first day was the toughest. By the second day, I felt better. I felt a lot better, even emotionally. At least I could talk, kind of. It
Do you
was a
think
lot
it's because
better.
you cried?
What?
Do you think it's because you cried?
Possibly. Yeah, I think so. I think crying it helps. It helps to express your emotions. Like it's a let out for your emotions sometimes. Um the bleeding, okay, I think like 3 days after they gave me antibiotics after the DNC and gave me constipation. So I was having really bad stomach pain. I had to go back to the hospital. And then the doctor was saying, oh, he doesn't think constipation will cause this. So they did another ultrasound and they didn't do the DNC well. So
Retained product.
there was still
Retained
some retained
products.
products. And the doctor was saying, oh, he thinks I have to go back in. And I ran away. Honestly. I left his
He said,
hospital. He when he told me that when the ultrasound guy, the radiologist said that, oh, there's still some retained products, and then I went back to I saw the doctor and it was like, oh, they didn't do the D&C well. That I have to go in again for another one. I just got into the car and I went back home. Like I was oh my god. I was like, people want to kill me. So I told my husband was like, oh, that I should go back. That of course if I didn't go back, there's no way the retained products will come out and then that will now cause
you
secondary
fall ill.
infertility.
Yeah, and you know.
So I went back and I begged him. I said I didn't want a DNC. Is there no other way we can do this? So they gave me
Was he
cytotech.
the one that did it himself?
Yeah, he was the one.
And did they use a curette or they used the vacuum? You
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I have no idea.
Alright.
I have no idea. Yeah, but I think it was accurate. That's the one that has a C kind of like a
Yeah,
hook kind of.
that's yeah. So yeah, it's a metal thing, but then usually earlier on there's a vacuum like a plastic, and then it just sort of
Okay, I really can't remember to be
okay,
honest. I can't remember.
okay,
So they gave me cytotech, and then all of the blood came out.
yeah.
So emotionally, I was dead for a while. Honestly, I was emotionally dead for a long while. But physically, I was okay within. After the first week, I went back to work. It took a while, and then there was a vacuum that my mind told me that only getting pregnant immediately would fail. So we were trying and trying and trying, and for some reason, it just wasn't happening for a while. So I think anxiety,
Yes,
it's really bad when you're trying for to
yeah,
conceive. I think it can
yeah.
affect your chances
It will
because we were
affect.
trying so hard and it just wasn't happening, and I was getting more anxious. Looking back now, I think that God just wanted me to address my feelings because it wasn't until after I addressed all of it and came to terms with what happened that we now conceived. So it was the month I let go and I was like, you know what, this has happened, I have to get over it. Getting pregnant immediately is not going to fill this vacuum. And I can't even put all of that on the baby that you can't fill a space that that was there before it was even conceived. So we got pregnant 6 or 7 months after. My mom was tracking my period like she was like, how far? What's happening? Okay, what's going on? Because she was really terrified that even after the cytotech, like they didn't do it well. So she was scared that there was going to be some secondary infertility, but
Mm.
thankfully there wasn't. So we had a rainbow baby, April 2017.
Yay!
It was tough, to be honest. It was really tough. But thank God. Sometimes, even now, sometimes I just sit down and I wonder what could have happened. What would my life be now if I didn't lose that baby? I would say that some good things came out of it. I think it kind of brought myself and my husband a lot closer. The fact that we experienced so much grief very early in marriage, it the first 3 months of marriage is like you're still forming for each other. The love is still so
Yeah.
you don't see the real person yet. So I think it kind of we saw the worst sides of each other and we still found love. So it kind of brought my husband and I together. I had a lot of family support from my in-laws. My mother-in-law stayed with me all through. She was there. My mom was there, my dad, my siblings, my sisters-in-law. So I had a lot of family support. My husband was there too, of course. So uh
Wow.
who is okay, parenting with Adeton. So I have the confidence for what?
Yeah. Please explain.
Okay, I can't hear you anymore.
No.
IJ.
Can you hear me now? I can hear
Yeah, but
you.
it's faint. What's going on? I think it's the network.
Oh, but I can hear you clearly.
You can't hear me.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay, I really can't hear you, but okay, let me just continue.
Okay.
So anyway, there were some good parts. It wasn't all bad. Brought myself and my husband together. I think I it also how do I say this? I think I became more mature after it happened, kind of. And it just made me realize that sometimes life is not all rosy. Even when you pray and you do everything, it doesn't mean that things are going to happen the way that
The
you
way you
want.
want.
The fact that you pray does not mean that bad things won't happen. So it also made me a
That you will not
realist
be
that
tested. Sorry. Doesn't mean that
what?
you will. It does not mean that you will not be tested.
Doesn't mean that what?
That you will not be tested.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't mean that you won't be tested. Exactly. So, you know. Yeah, so that's it. I can't believe I lived through all of this without crying so much. Wow. I'm so proud of myself.
You've done so well. Can you hear me? Okay. Hello? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Okay,
Let
now
me
I can hear you. Now I
let me
can hear you.
exit and come back.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So I'll hold for you. Okay, so before I go, I wanted to ask, does it matter if a curette or a vacuum is used? Is it better? Well, not necessarily. The thing is that the vacuum is less traumatic. At the time it was developed. So what it does is that when they use the vacuum, it sort of sucks everything out. But at the end of it, some consultants still use the curette if they feel that they haven't gotten everything out, but it is gentler on the tissue, so it's using vacuum to suck out all the loose tissue, and then a curette cannot be used gently. But the challenge with the curette is that it requires a lot of skill in terms of that with a curette sometimes people can perforate the womb, or they can hurt you, or they can do it too much, and then in the process of healing sometimes some people's wombs stick together. That is the challenge with the cure, because it's like scraping.
Asherman syndrome.
Yes, Asherman syndrome is like Asherman syndrome, and then also the risk of perforating. It's like scraping the tissue and all the products of conception off from the womb. So
Guess how I
yes.
know so much about this?
Why? How do you know so much?
Because I was so scared something had gone wrong. I kept
Oh, so you had to do
researching.
your research.
Oh
Okay,
my
but you're
goodness.
not getting pregnant right after. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
I was so scared all of this happened.
yeah, yeah.
Let me just give you guys one advice. Don't ever go on Google to think something is wrong with you.
I didn't hear
Please
what you said.
don't.
Don't ever do what? Can't hear you.
I can hear you loud and
I
clear.
think you're holding the place where your
No,
speaker
I'm
is.
not. I'm not. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah, I
now.
was saying that don't ever go on Google to search for a cure for whatever is wrong with you. You will just end up with a bigger problem than you started.
Yes, yes, because Google will show you a whole range of a headache can be
Yeah.
caused by a normal
And you will now
migraine or
find that
malaria.
you're having symptoms
Yes,
for cancer and stuff like
yes,
that.
yes. The headache can be
Can be so
cancer
traumatic.
or it can be malaria. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically the curette is salt is was the first thing that was developed for doing for emptying the womb after a pregnancy loss. And then the vacuum came after. The vacuum is plastic, it uses negative pressure, it sucks everything out and all that. But sometimes you still but there's in the training there are things that you see that you know that you've gotten everything out. Like after a while you just start seeing foam if everything is out. And then with the curette also, once you've gotten to the stage where you're supposed to stop, it feels it's supposed to feel gritty, you know. But so you know some people are just, I'm sorry to say, they're just numbskulls. And they're not, because medicine is, as far as I'm concerned, is a skills and art form. It's they're
Yes,
just,
yes,
you need to be
yes.
very sensitive and all that. um
Yeah.
and there are just several things that happened in the process of you going through the ordeal of finding out about the pregnancy loss that I do not agree with at all. Like, I think I put a post up about it before. When we're choosing hospitals, I think it's important to the place. There was a place I worked, one of the first places I worked after youth service. An ultrasound scan is like me having my glasses, you know. It's a scan machine. So just imagine you in the state that you were. What if you bled some more on the way to getting the ultrasound scan done? What if you
Mm-hmm.
collapsed? What if, I mean, and then the way the nurses behaved. Anyway, that's story for another day, sha. But as in, I'm happy
That's story for
you got
another
out.
day.
I'm happy you got out
Yeah.
and all that.
And because of their mismanagement and just pure, in fact, what's the word now? Negligence. A lot of
Yes,
women
it's
would have died
negligence.
from blood loss.
Yes,
It was just
yes,
negligence.
yes. And then
Anyway.
also the psychological trauma. I was just reading some research on
Oh no,
pregnancy.
they don't care about that. They don't care.
Do you know there's a connection between pregnancy loss and depression, you know,
Of
postpartum
course.
depression and all
Of
that. And there's
course.
this things that we just sweep under the carpet, you know. And
Yeah, yeah,
um
true.
and
True.
okay, so let me tell my own story. Actually, I have 15 minutes left. For me, when I got married at first, I wanted to chill for like a year before we got pregnant. And I think also deep inside me, I was scared of getting pregnant. Maybe I'd seen too many.
Understandable.
I don't know. I was just scared. I mean, I love 1G and everything, but I was in my mind. Now I think about it, I was freaked out about getting pregnant. And then when that year elapsed, it was now like, okay, you know. So I now started taking folic acid, and then I know I was doing like, because I like working out. Well, not anymore, but I was doing a lot of like Zumba with my friend. I think we do like 3 times a week or something. and then I was like actively working and doing calls at the time. Okay. First time on confession, she's going away. She'll come back later.
Oh, all right.
So
Bye.
one day, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I was still taking my folic acid, and then one day I started having, because I have bad dysmenorrhea, I started having, honestly, it was the worst cramps of my life. I've had very bad cramps, but it was the worst cramps of my life. And then I was not thinking back. And I now realized that I had actually missed my period. You know how you are very happy when it doesn't even come, so you're like, hey, because the process of
Exactly.
being on your period is so traumatizing, like in terms of cramps and all that. So I missed my
Yeah.
period, and no, I didn't know that I missed my period. I just started having very bad pain, and and okay, I remember I was supposed to have Zumba that day with my friend. So I called her and told her I'm not going to be able to, and that I wasn't feeling well and all that. And then she came over. She's a pharmacist as well. She's the one you called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Moi.
So she came to the house, and then I think okay, yeah. I don't know, how did I get Sha. She got me pregnancy test kits, and then she also got me painkillers or something. I can't remember. Honestly, it's in a blur, but I was confused. And I did a pregnancy test, and the line was faint. I was like, wait, as in, so what does this mean? I was supposed to be a doctor. I work in a fertility clinic. What is going on? My husband was asking me questions. I could not answer. Like, I was confused. I was confused. And next thing, I now started squatting more heavily, and the pain was now more. And then I now had to, the hospital where I work, we have like ultrasound machines, and then they train us on how to use it. So I now had to get someone who I had trained to do ultrasound scan. And I just kept on looking. When, I don't know how to put it there. It's very confusing for me when I'm treating my family members or when I'm treating myself. Like, I can't answer simple questions. I can't.
Yeah, I get that.
So there were all
Like
these
your
issues.
doctor brain just goes off.
It switches off. Like, so we did the scan, and I was looking at it, and I could not understand what I was seeing. Like,
What's
um
going on?
my mind was very confusing. It was very confusing. I know I bled a lot, and then, because at the time also I was the most senior there, as in after the consultant, I couldn't now advise myself on what to do. I mean, I can't I can't I can't um I can't explain how I felt, because in my mind, I didn't even know that I was pregnant, and I didn't think that I could get pregnant that fast. And I didn't think that this thing that was happening now was a miscarriage. You know how you feel like, oh, miscarriages happen to other people. You're healthy.
Yeah, yes,
That
I
kind
get
of
that.
thing. And
In fact,
it was very confusing. And in the end, I had to, because I think that in the course of bleeding, yes, okay, now I remember, I started passing out tissue at home. And then, because I think it was on one of my off days, I started passing tissue at home, and then I went to the hospital, back to the hospital, and then we did the scan. It was a transvaginal scan, and there was thickening. There was a sign that, okay, there had been something there, but I think a lot of it had come out. So I now went to, and this is the problem also with being treated by your colleagues or being treated by your friends. Everybody was now looking at me as in, okay, so what do you want us to do? Like, I know that they were also confused as well. So I took I had to take cytotec and painkillers, to get everything out. But and then we did the scan again, and it was fine. But it was just like what I'm just telling you now. I couldn't get my mind around it.
yeah,
I didn't even know.
what
I
to
think also
feel.
my husband didn't know how to deal with it. And I felt angry at him because he didn't know how to deal with it. And then did I tell my? I don't think I told anybody. I don't think I told anybody. I didn't tell my mom until maybe 2 months. No, what am I saying? Oh no. Like a week after or something. But one thing I would say was that my friends were very. There's one of my friends. She's actually she came to the house. She got me stuff. She got me painkillers. She just came to find out if I was okay and everything. But it was just a very confusing time in my life. And then after that, it took me 3 years to get pregnant.
Wow.
So you can imagine what was going through my mind. Like, what have you done?
I
You went
guess.
and took cytotech instead of you to go and do like a proper evacuation. I mean, there was nothing there, right? But
Wow.
yeah, like till now, I don't know what happened. I don't know, I don't know what. But then even the pregnancy itself, as in my
Was
daughter now, it was. I had at a point I stopped working because I didn't know what it was that was making me not get pregnant, and I was just trying to like eliminate all the possible causes
courses.
and all that. I mean, I'd seen people that who would come to the hospital where I work, was like an IVF center, and they would spend money. You do all your tests, and you find out there's nothing wrong with them, but they're trying and it's not happening, so they do IVF. They do the first cycle, second cycle, third cycle. Then when their money finishes, they're like, okay, fine, I'm going home, and they're like, whatever, and then they come back 3 months time and they're pregnant. So so yeah, I mean, even the pregnancy with my child, it was dramatic. And then at 5 months I had like a serious bleed. I woke up in the night and I thought
Wow.
I had weed myself, only to get to the bathroom and there was blood, like a lot of blood, like clumps of blood. And my mind was not even working very well at the time because I thought that the baby was in the toilet.
Wow.
But at that point in time, really, the baby shouldn't be that small. But my mind, as in, it's just confusion. That's all I can say. That's if I could characterize the experience of pregnancy loss or threatened pregnancy loss in one word, for me, it's confusion. Me that's supposed to know what's going on. So
I can understand
yeah, but I mean,
less because
just
you have how you can't.
yes, yes, yes. But I think one very important thing I've learned from what you said, and also some other people I've seen, is I think it's important to close ranks with your partner.
To do what?
Yeah, to close ranks, as in it's something that you
Oh
guys need
yes.
to do it together.
Yes.
It's important, yes, to share with. I mean, sharing certain things with my mom has helped me a lot. Has helped me a lot in terms of her being a woman, her being a mother as well. Is very, the whole. But I know people whose marriages have broken down because of recurring miscarriages. I know somebody,
Yes.
the lady kept on losing babies, like, and it would, how you use baby at 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and
Mm-hmm.
then everybody's trying to give advice as to what it is that you're not
Yeah.
doing right, and so
Mm-hmm.
they actually
And
go a
somehow
divorce.
it's your fault.
Yes, and all that, and yes, about the, because I put up in the stories asking whether it was normal to feel faint and bleed heavily after, for example, having an evacuation after a miscarriage has happened, and that's not normal. I had a friend in the UK last year. She was pregnant at the same time I was pregnant, and then she had a miscarriage. Well, it's not a miscarriage. She had, well, she was 20. She was 20 weeks. So let's call it a stillbirth, right?
That was like neonatal loss.
Yes. So she sometime, like maybe like a week after, she started bleeding very heavily. And she was sending me messages, but I wasn't looking at it. She was just like that she's feeling funny, she's bleeding heavily, and all that, that she doesn't know what to do. She's a doctor, you know. She doesn't know what to do at the time because she's confused. Like, she's not like being objective, and all that. And I think she actually collapsed in her house. So her
Oh my
husband, they had to
god.
call an ambulance for her. So what happened was that after the products of conception had been taken out, they didn't take everything out. So there were bits of her placenta that were still in her. This is in the UK, and that's the reason why she was bleeding so heavily. So if the evacuation has been done properly and all that, you're supposed to like sort of bleed a bit for like a week, and then after that's supposed to stop. And then 4 to 5 weeks later, then you now start your proper period. But it's not normal to be gushing blood still, and it's not normal to
Yeah,
feel
because
so.
I remember that
This,
I bled
yeah,
heavily for 2 weeks. I bled heavily for
yes,
two
yes,
weeks. So
yes,
I knew there was something wrong. I knew there was something wrong.
yeah.
So the bleeding, it reduced.
Okay, guys, sorry. 1 hour had elapsed. That's why it went off. So we'll wait for Miriam to come back on, and the rest of you guys. I can't believe that I'm so confused now that I'm talking about it. But I think it's also part of therapy. Hi, Arin. Please pronounce your name. Rianat. Hello. Thank you for coming back. So yeah, there are a number of things I wanted to talk about, but I mean, just Miriam and I sharing our stories. I think that's very important. It's taking up most of the time, but that's very important. Hopefully on Monday, when we have the gynecologist, the consultant gynecologist come and chat, we can go through the technical aspects of pregnancy loss and all that. But just based on the quiz and the stories as well, it is okay to cry. Crying out is some sort of therapy. It sort of helps you let everything out. It's okay to be angry. Whatever emotion it is that you feel at the time, don't try and muffle it. Just be. It's a time to close ranks with your partner. Talk to them about it. Find out how they feel about it. I mean, sometimes for guys, they have problems like expressing their emotions, but it's just somehow just find a way to communicate. I think that's very important. And then, I mean, learning from Miriam's experience is very important. The reason why I say close rank is because I've seen people whose marriages have broken down because of that pressure of having several pregnancy losses, and then other people trying to interfere in their marriage. Yeah, so another thing is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, even if after a miscarriage you haven't gotten pregnant at the time that you expect to get pregnant. It's a waiting period. So I think you should just concentrate on taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, understanding yourself, understanding your feelings. There's a psychological component to getting pregnant. People who are happy-go-lucky, I think they get pregnant easily. But then even beyond psychological, when you're stressed out, you release stress hormones, cortisol, which are anti-pregnancy, which are anti-conception. Okay, I've mentioned listen to your body and do your research. Sleep. Take time off so that you can take your mind off it. Take time off so that you can recharge. Yeah. And then it's also a good idea to talk to other people who have had miscarriages before. Everybody's experiences could be different, but we all have a lot to learn from each other. I mean, I've learned so much from. I've talked to Maryam about the whole miscarriage process before. I mean, her own experience, but I mean, just listening to her now again, I think it just makes us stronger. Things to do to take care of yourself after you've had a miscarriage. Just the same way after you've had a baby, you're not advised to douche, you're not advised to use tampons. If the bleeding worsens and you start feeling dizzy, you need to go back to the hospital, because there might be something wrong, because the bleeding is supposed to actually dwindle with time, like reduce with time. And you also still have, like, I mean, if you do a pregnancy test a week after you've had a miscarriage, your pregnancy would still be, the test will still be positive, because what the test actually checks is the hormone, or the levels of the hormone that's released during pregnancy in your urine. That's the dipstick. What else did I want to talk about? Okay, yes, preconception care. Some people, a lot of times, people don't really think that it's important to take care of themselves when they're trying to get pregnant. It's very important, your nutrition, like taking things like folic acid, because folic acid helps in the development of the nervous system and preventing what they call neural tube disorders, which are when the baby's spine doesn't develop properly and it's split and doesn't cover up. That's just roughly speaking. So for people who have sickle cell disease or who are diabetic, it's very important for them to visit a gynecologist or an obstetrician, a very, very good one, to plan their pregnancy, because these are pregnancies that need to be monitored very closely. People with sickle cell are known to have recurrent miscarriages. People with diabetes are known to have recurrent miscarriages. So there are things that need to be put in place. They need to be monitored more closely. They need to be monitored more closely when they are pregnant or when they are trying to get pregnant. Like, I had a consultant who would do scans every week or every 2 weeks for people with sickle cell, because these are people that they can have what they call a missed abortion. That is the pregnancy being terminated without them realizing that there's something wrong. They might not bleed, but then you go and then you check and then there's no heartbeat for the baby. So these people need to be monitored more closely. The medications they need to take, people with diabetes need to have a better blood sugar control. Then another thing I'd like to touch on is also resource factor. That is, how when people say that their blood group is A positive or O positive or O negative. So the thing is that for people who are resource negative, they produce let me just call them antibodies, which are things that fight foreign tissue, right? So if you're resource negative, because resource negative is a recessive gene, if you're resource negative, the chance is also that maybe your husband is also resource positive. Once you get pregnant and then you have a baby and you have a miscarriage, your blood sort of is exposed to the baby's blood, which is most likely not going to be negative, and your body now develops antibodies against the other blood group. And what happens with that is that those people now, the next pregnancy, if they do not take, there are certain medications they're supposed to take right after losing that pregnancy, or right after having a baby and being resource negative, that are supposed to neutralize those antibodies. If you don't take them, then you can have fetal deaths or miscarriages after that pregnancy, like recurrent ones. So that's something to note. That could also cause recurrent miscarriages. There are other things that can cause recurrent miscarriages, but let's not just. I'm not going to dwell on that. I would like Maryam to come back and talk about. I wanted her to talk about dealing with lactation after a mom has lost her baby. Let me just see if I can get her. Let me see if I can get her back. Because I want her to talk about it, because once the placenta is formed, that is right up from like 18 to 20 weeks. If the placenta is taken out, which is after, if this baby is, then the mom, it triggers off the chain of events that leads to breast milk production, and obviously we'd want that to stop. Oh, okay. Let me go away and then come back again, because she says she can't see the live video. Thank you, Arina. So I'm back now. So I'll just wait for everyone to come back so that we can continue our chat.
A loss.
Yes, after a loss, yes. If it's obviously
Okay,
that
depending.
happens after the placenta is formed, right? Okay, so I mean, just while I'm waiting for everyone to come back on, let me just quickly go through some common causes of miscarriages. I'll say again, 10 to 50% of confirmed pregnancies end up in pregnancy loss. It's called a miscarriage if it is before 4 months, before 20 weeks, and after 20 weeks it's called a stillbirth. Fantastic, she's here. Okay. So it could be as a result of
Hi.
how you. I was back, and then it was just only one person I was conversing with. I was wondering where everyone went.
The network is really bad.
Yeah, but it's okay. I think we've done really well. And then it was also 1 hour, I
Mm-hmm.
think, at the time. It was one
Yeah,
hour.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was just talking about just things about preconception care, things to note and all that. I wanted you to touch on dealing with lactation after
A loss.
yes, after a loss, yes. If it's obviously
Okay,
that happens
depending.
after the placenta is formed, right?
Yes, and from like the 16th week, because
Okay,
that's kind of when milk starts to be formed,
okay,
or let's say the 20th week.
okay.
Yes, that's when colostrum begins to form. So if
Yeah.
you lose a baby around that time, there's a high possibility that you produce milk. So that's why even when you have a premature baby, some milk will come out. It might not be like a full supply, but some milk will come out.
Okay.
So of course, if you have a stillbirth, um that's your milk would it would be like a regular supply. So that's kind of worse. If you lose your child from like 20 weeks, the milk might not really it might not really flow well. You might just find that when you massage your breast, some milk will come out, but you might not get you won't get engorgement or anything because your milk is just starting to form at that stage.
Okay. Okay.
So a
Okay.
woman who loses her child around that time shouldn't have so much problem with stopping the milk. It will stop on its own. Now for a mom who loses a baby at term anytime or late is it late preterm? That's from like 37 weeks or 34.
Yeah.
Yeah, from that time, then of course there will be engorgements because your body is prepared to feed your child, but then there's no baby.
Okay.
So from research, there are three expressions. It's either the mom, she doesn't want the milk to stop because it's a sign of her baby that she lost.
Okay.
So she's not ready to let go of that relationship yet. That's one. Or she wants it to stop. She doesn't want any reminder about the baby at all.
Okay.
And she's just, like you want to crawl out of your body so you just don't feel the pain. Or the last one is some moms now actually decide to donate their milk.
Okay.
So
That's
that kind
what
of makes
I,
them,
yeah,
yeah, it kind of makes them feel like something good came out of
came
it.
out of it. Okay. That
Yeah,
that's
so
that
at least,
nice. Yeah.
yeah, so at least there is something that they can hold on to say, oh, okay, my baby couldn't take this milk, but at least I fed another baby who was
Yeah.
better because of my milk.
Yeah.
So what is most important is that the woman gets support, whatever choice she makes. Don't come if she decides she wants to donate, please don't do over sabi and come and say no, she should not donate. Why does she? No, nobody asked you. Just support. Try as much as you might not understand it. People do funny things when they're in grief. So you might not understand it, but just try as much as possible to offer as much support as you can. That's the mom's way of coping with her, of dealing with her grief. Now, for a mom who wants to stop, like she doesn't want the milk to continue to flow,
Yeah.
she would have engorgement, possibly mastitis, clogged ducts, because there's obstruction, there's stasis. The milk cannot flow, so there can be possible infection and all of that. So the best thing to do is to just express a bit. Just express till you're comfortable, but don't express too much. Just express till you're
Because that's like
comfortable. So
stimulating
your
more.
body is getting the message that um you don't need the milk.
Hmm.
No, I can't hear you anymore. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, it's gone faint again. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so another thing you can do is to use cold cabbage leaves. So cut off the head, remove the outer part. So you're going to use the inner leaves, put them in the fridge or in the freezer. Then you place them in your bra. So they're very absorbent. Place them in your bra. When you feel like it's full, you can just rinse it off, put it back in the freezer, take another leaf and put it. So you continue to do that daily. It's soothing, but you know that the first 6 weeks milk supply is determined by hormonal control. It's not
Yes.
demand and supply. So it's
Yes.
possible that you would feel that engorgement for the entire 6 weeks. So one last option that you can do if you cannot deal with all of that, which is understandable, is to use high dose vitamin B6. So
Okay.
that inhibits prolactin, and so your body is not producing as much milk. But
So
of
who's
course,
going
that
to
has to be
prescribe
prescribed to you
this
by
now?
your doctor. So you need to speak to your
But
doctor about your
you know,
choices.
I'm telling you now that because I was
I
going to ask
can't
about
hear
some other
you.
medication. Sorry, I was going to ask about some other medication, not even B6.
What?
Hello?
I don't know what's going on, but it's
I
very faint.
maybe I was going to ask about some other medication, not even B6.
Okay.
My battery is
You know
low.
what? Let me exit and come back because I
Okay.
can't hear you.
Okay, no
Let
problem.
me leave, then come back.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Please, can I use your charger? The one that. So, I'm a doctor and I've never actually heard of B6 before. There are other things that I know about, not B6. But that's huh. Let me go live with breastfeeding injury. Okay, so and I'm also curious as to what dose it would be. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I think I
Mm.
also need power.
Yeah, my battery is running down too.
I usually this is not my usually connect my phone to a power source while I'm doing these live chats. I don't know, maybe because I was rushing or something. Yeah. Okay. So you were saying about B6. I was going to ask about the two other drugs I'm more familiar with. So please finish with talk about B6. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that, yeah, high dose vitamin B6 is a prolactin inhibitor. Prolactin is the
Okay.
hormone responsible for breast milk production. So it kind of deregulates it, and then you're not producing as much milk. And it's over the counter, so but it's best to always speak to your doctor before you use any drug. So don't
What's
come
the
and say
dose?
breastfeeding AG. I cannot
Okay.
remember, to be
Okay. Don't tell
honest,
me the
but
dose.
I
Don't
will
tell me
check.
before we go and.
I can't even remember, but I'll check and I'll get back to you. But I don't like to put the dose of any drug online because people
Yeah.
just abuse it. They'll just go,
Yeah.
oh, I saw this online and
Yeah.
do the rest.
So the medication I'm familiar with for stopping
Lactation.
breastfeeding is furosemide, Lasix, and bromocriptine.
Yeah,
But
Lasix will work too. But you know how Lasix will just improve lymphatic drainage. It's not really going to stop the prolactin. So it will still take as much time, but the woman won't feel as she won't be as much she won't be as
engorged.
engorged as, yeah, exactly.
Then bromocriptine makes people dizzy, right? You're supposed to take it
Oh yeah, there's
at
also
night.
bromocriptine. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yes, there's also bromocriptine. But you
But I know
have
it makes
to
people dizzy. Yeah, you have to do what?
Your doctor has prescribed it for you. It's not over the counter. You can't get it over the counter. You need to have a
Yes.
prescription for it. So
Mm-hmm.
discuss with your doctor. That actually, how did I forget bromocriptine? That's
No,
Palodel,
you're
right?
new school now. Me, I'm old school.
Yeah, and I think it's also a prolactin inhibitor. So I'm wondering
Yes.
why I didn't remember.
But it's not. I know all the people we've had to prescribe it to. They sort of complain. I mean, I've even tried. I've taken it before. You feel dizzy, like you feel really woozy. So they say they prescribe low doses at night at first before they take it up to the dose that I will not tell you
Maximum.
about. The dose I will not say. No, actually, it's 5 milligrams. It's
They
five
can't even
milligrams, two
get it
point
over
five
the
to five
counter.
milligrams. Yeah,
So
2.5 to 5.
yeah,
So yeah. I mean, we've had to prescribe it for also people who have had HIV. That was before Sha, when just to
hyperprolactinemia.
no, the HIV positive moms who don't want to breastfeed their babies.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay, that's true.
yeah. And then
I
that's
totally
what I
forgot
use that
about that.
hyperprolactinemia. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is because I think a lot of times people don't think about or want to talk about the practical aspects of losing a baby, which is another thing I wanted us to touch on.
The
That's
practical
also
aspect
why
of what?
of pregnancy loss, what to do after, what are you supposed to do after, I mean, to take care of yourself, and then to deal with it physically.
To be honest, I think
So
that there is no
size fit all.
exactly, no one size fits all when it comes to grief. I would just say that there are stages of grief, and you only start to deal with it when acceptance comes. So obviously, the first stage is shock,
Yeah,
denial, acceptance, and for some people, they might not get to acceptance until a very long while. So until you accept what happened, there is no way you can deal with it. I would just say that find comfort in things that you like to do
yeah,
and in people that you can confide in.
yeah,
So your spouse, your siblings, your parents, and talking about it makes I think it also helps with acceptance because it's out there. It's not all in your head. And sometimes
Yes.
when you talk about it, you realize that you're not alone. You realize there's so
Yes.
many other women who this has happened to. I mean, it's
Yes.
funny that it was after I had my miscarriage that I discovered that so many people had gone through it. I mean, so because I was absent from work for like a week, and the unit I was working in, it's a very nosy unit. So some people knew. So of course, people were telling me about their own experiences too, and these are people that I work with every day. We gist, we chat, and I never knew anything like that happened to them. So sometimes when you talk about it, you realize that you're not alone. So it's not about you. It's something that just happens, and through no fault of yours. So it helps to talk about it. Don't bottle it up. Sometimes you can. Anger is also a stage of grief. You'll be angry
Yeah.
at God. You'll be angry at your spouse because you're just
Yeah.
frustrated and annoyed. You're even angry at yourself, but you can't deal with it because you don't
Yeah.
want to deal with the guilt. So talking about it really helps. If you are if you are someone who likes to express via writing instead of talking about it, that helps
I
too.
know.
Whatever
Yeah.
way works for you, just try as much as possible to cope with the grief. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's
Some
also
some
comfort
people.
in food.
Yeah. Some people have advocated doing something to remember the baby, like a memorial or remembrance thing. I don't know. I think it
I
depends
would
on the
just say
situation.
that if that's what rocks your boat, like if that's what will give you comfort, sure, go for it. For me, I can never forget. The memorial wouldn't have done anything. The date is in my brain forever. I will never ever 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 forget. So, but if the memorial makes you feel okay, then if that's your way of coping with grief, then fine.
As usual. Thank you so much. You know, we're always doing 1 hour plus during our chats.
And now, because we're
During
gisting.
our chats. Yes, 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 yes. Oh yeah, when you talked about the cabbage, I prefer to eat cabbage, yeah. I prefer salads. Lancino therapel can be
Oh
used and
yeah,
frozen.
that's true.
Yes,
That's
it
true.
should
That
be. Yeah,
that helps with engorgement too,
yeah,
and it is very, very, very soothing. Very, very
yeah,
soothing.
yeah.
So with engorgement, especially if you want to express. So for a mom who wants to donate and but she's engorged, and it can be painful to express if you're engorged. Start with
The
hot
drug.
therapy. Yeah. So the therapy would it will help to open up the ducts so the milk can flow easier to loosen the lumps so it's less painful. And then you can now do the cold therapy to close up the ducts and flow and lessen the flow of the milk. So
Okay,
that's helpful.
we're
Yeah, we
done.
were going to talk about teratogenic drugs. Let me
Oh
just
yes, yes,
quickly.
yes. Sorry,
So
okay.
there are some.
Teratogenic drugs and drugs to avoid in pregnancy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So teratogenic drugs are drugs that can cause potential harm to your unborn child, and the possibility of harm is highest in the first trimester. So that's the first 3 months, and the last 3 months. The middle trimester is kind of the safest, but it doesn't mean that your child can be affected that time. So the number one drug on the list is tetracycline. Not even because it does so much harm, but because it is very accessible. I remember when I used to work at a pharmacy, hmm, we can sell like 3 packs of tetracycline daily.
Hmm.
That's like 30 sachet. And that's on a day that is not so busy. People will just come in, flagyl, tetracycline, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's one of the most abused drugs in Nigeria. People are going for Owambe and they have flagyl and tetracycline in their bags. It's that
Wow.
bad. So if you're pregnant, tetracycline is a no-no. It can discolor your baby's teeth and it can
Please.
cause some bone malformation.
Different.
So
Yes. Yes.
anything that ends with cycline most likely will do the same. So doxycycline too is a no-no.
No. No.
Doxycycline is also an abused drug for people who suspect STIs, sexually transmitted
Yes.
infections.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sometimes they come for they come for what's the name of the emergency pill, postinol, and
Posting
they're
up, yeah.
buying yeah, doxycycline at the same time. So if you think that there is a possibility that you'll be pregnant, don't even attempt to buy doxycycline. Don't attempt to do it because it can now cause harm to your fetus. Another drug that is contraindicated is aspirin.
Yeah.
It's also very
Unless
common.
prescribed.
Yes. It's
Unless
also very
prescribed.
common. It causes a congenital malformation. What's it called? Is it Rye syndrome or
Heart.
something? I can't remember.
Gray syndrome. Yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
yes.
So it's also, in fact, throughout your pregnancy, just don't use aspirin. Which other drug did I use?
Um, which other drug? One has to be careful with certain types of malaria medication in the
Ah,
first trimester, and then towards the end. Well, not necessarily teratogenic. What's it called? These SP. What's SP? Like Fancida. You
fancy
know
that
how it can make your baby jaundice if you take it in the last. If you take it just before.
delivery.
If you take it just before you deliver.
Yeah. So, but really, it's SP is really regulated in Nigeria right now. Most women
Oh,
get it from the
really?
hospital. Yeah, and you hardly see any pregnant mom buying SP on her own. As long as she's going for antenatal classes, it's highly regulated. In health centers, in fact, you have to use it right in front of the pharmacist. If not, they won't let you
Wow.
go. Yeah,
Wow.
and then they'll tell you, okay, this is when the next dose is supposed to be, and it will cover malaria prevention from this date till that date, so you don't need to buy anything else. So, but yeah, try to avoid that. So, any other drug?
Um, any other drug? No, but I'll just say that I think I had mentioned it before we came back. For people who are sicklers and who have diabetes, their blood sugar control needs to be tight. Sicklers, their pregnancies need to be monitored more closely. Regular
Yeah,
scans. I mean, these are people that can have a fetal death without
complications.
having any signs, no bleeding or
Yeah,
anything like that. So they are monitored more closely.
to
Then I also mentioned the resource negativity thing. You know how
yes,
with blood groups, if you can be O positive or A positive
a
or O negative.
O
So is
negative.
that negative thing, which is a part of the blood group? I'm just trying to
So
dumb it down a lot.
Mm. So if for example, if you're O positive and your husband is O negative, there's a
There's no
possibility that
problem.
you're
You're,
really
no, you see, the thing is, the negative thing
okay. Is if
is
the mom is O
recessive.
negative?
Yes,
Okay,
it's a
okay, okay,
recessive
okay,
gene. So
okay.
if you have a child that is negative and both of you were positive, then it means that both of you had resource negative genes.
Okay, I
I
get
don't
what
want to
you're
go
saying.
technical. Yes, yes. So
I get what you're saying.
what I want to emphasize really, because we are talking about pregnancy loss, you know how if a mom who is resource negative has a
Mm.
miscarriage or a pregnancy loss,
Yeah.
in all the drama and all that,
Mm.
well, in a good sense that this shouldn't happen, but let me just put it out there. They are supposed to have have those injections that would mop up all the
Prevent
antibodies that the mom would have
person.
generated as a result of her blood mixing with the baby's blood.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if that doesn't happen, that can make the woman have stillbirth and miscarriages in other pregnancies. So I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think it happens nowadays, but in the past, that was a cause of pregnancy loss,
Pregnancy
because you would
loss.
have a woman who has either had a termination of pregnancy, um, obviously under under dubious dubious means or whatever, and then because of the way it was done, they did not give them the medication is called Rogam. It's an injection. They didn't get it, so all the antibody the mom's body will attack any other baby that is growing in her womb that is not resource negative. So that's a very, very important cause of
Yeah, very important and
miscarriage.
very also very important. In pregnancy, there is nothing like I have headache. Let me just quickly go to the pharmacy and get something. Never,
Yes.
ever, ever,
Ever,
ever
ever,
do that.
ever, ever,
Even paracetamol,
ever,
please
ever, ever.
ensure that your doctor knows that you're using paracetamol before you take it. I know it's
And it,
difficult for pregnant moms to go to hospital all the time, but you can collect
yes,
your doctor's number and call or
yes,
something.
yes, yes.
So it's a
And
lot
if and
easier.
and even with that, I think that still, even when a doctor prescribes something for you, just still check. Still
Yes,
check,
yes,
just in
yeah,
case they made a mistake.
yes,
Just in
very
case they made.
correct.
Yeah. So have I missed any other thing out? Okay,
I
so
don't think so.
when would the when with what you talked about trying to stop breastfeeding, how long does the person have to take the B6 for? When is the breast milk production going to stop? Did you mention that?
Well, um, it's different for everyone, so there is no fixed time. But I would just say generally 6 weeks for the hormonal control to go off. So if you're on B6 and it's inhibiting prolactin, it depends on how sensitive your receptors are and stuff. So please hold on. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to let you guys know, on Sunday we'll be having a chat with a psychologist, clinical psychologist, to talk about like how to deal, and then we deal with pregnancy loss. And then on Monday we'll have a gynecologist come and also chat with us. Please have your questions ready and all that so that we can. Okay. So
Yeah,
Miriam,
so I was
continue.
saying that 6 weeks for the hormonal control to go off. So but there's really no fixed time to be honest. There's no fixed time. Everyone is different. Just that's why it's important you speak to your doctor before you use the drug so you can be monitored and the doctor can taper the dose because you're not supposed to stop abruptly.
For B6.
Yes.
Okay.
So speak to your doctor and then so you need to be monitored. Ensure that your doctor is informed. Don't just go and buy you don't know the dose. So I think that's fine.
Okay. Have we covered everything? Yes, we have.
So
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. Very brave of you. And then you made me braver.
I can't believe I shared too.
Yeah, I